and people are dying, you know. And
Yeah.
I just called up my management and said, we're out of there, you know, get me off.
Neil Young is a revered musician, outspoken activist, and an emblem of counterculture. But behind the powerful chords and iconic lyrics lies an array of controversies that have stirred more than just the airwaves. From the reason Neil Young never returned to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, to bold stands against political figures, his journey has been anything but ordinary. What secrets and stories are woven into the fabric of his songs? And how have his unyielding convictions both captivated and divided his audience through the decades? Stay tuned as we peel back the layers of Neil Young's storied career, revealing the enigmatic clashes and crusades that have defined this icon. However, before we take a look at these details, let's try to understand why he ended up doing the things he did. Neil Percival Young was born on November 12, 1945, in Toronto, Canada. His father, Scott Young, was a well-known sports journalist, and his mother, Rassie Ragland, was a member of the influential Omagh Presbyterian Church. Growing up in Omagh, a small town in Ontario, Neil was exposed to a variety of musical influences. He was just a kid when he first picked up the ukulele, and it wasn't long before he graduated to the guitar. Imagine a young Neil strumming away, dreaming of the big stage while dealing with the day-to-day struggles of small-town life. Life wasn't always smooth sailing for Neil. He was diagnosed with polio at the age of 5 during an epidemic in Canada. Polio, a disease that can cause paralysis, left Neil bedridden for weeks. But this didn't crush his spirit. Instead, it seemed to fuel his passion for music and storytelling. Another hardship was his parents' divorce when he was just 12. This split led to Neil moving to Winnipeg with his mother, a city that played a significant role in shaping his musical path. The move to Winnipeg marked a new chapter for Neil, but it wasn't without its growing pains. The family struggled financially, and Neil often found solace in music. His high school years were marked by a lack of interest in academics, but a growing obsession with rock and roll. He formed several bands, including the Squires, which gained some local popularity. However, tragedy struck when Neil's beloved car, a hearse he named Mort, broke down on the way to a gig. This might sound trivial, but for Neil, Mort was more than just a car. It was a symbol of his independence and passion for music. Despite these hardships, Neil's determination paid off. His time in Winnipeg connected him with important figures in the music scene. He met Stephen Stills at a club in Ontario, a meeting that would eventually lead to the formation of Buffalo Springfield. But before this big break, Neil's first taste of success came with his band, the Mina Birds, which featured future funk legend Rick James. Yes, that Rick James. They even recorded an album, but it was shelved due to James's legal troubles. Neil's early wins were also marked by his solo performances at local clubs and coffeehouses. His unique sound began to attract attention, setting the stage for his eventual move to Los Angeles and his rise to fame. It's incredible to think that these early struggles and small victories were the building blocks of a career that would span decades and influence countless musicians. However, Neil's personal and musical journey was about to reach a new level of complexity and influence as he entered the realm of controversial music making. Controversy in tune. Neil Young has never shied away from stirring the pot with his music, especially when it comes to matters of social justice. His 1970 hit Southern Man is a prime example, famously criticizing the deep-rooted racism in the southern United States. The song didn't just climb the charts, it vaulted right into a cultural clash. Enter Lynyrd Skynyrd, the southern rock band who felt compelled to answer back with their anthem, Sweet Home Alabama, even giving Neil a shout-out. Well, I hope Neil Young will remember, a southern man don't need him around anyhow. But here's the twist. Neil Young and the members of Lynyrd Skynyrd actually held each other in high regard. Young later expressed admiration for Sweet Home Alabama, calling it a beautiful song and confessing he was somewhat proud his name made it into the lyrics. It's a perfect example of how music can transcend personal differences and become a dialogue, albeit a loud rock and roll one, about critical issues. However, Neil's journey through musical dialogues and cultural controversies was just warming up, leading us into more turbulent waters. Neil's tumultuous tour. In the swirling storm of the 1973 Time Fades Away tour, Neil Young faced not only the ghosts of personal loss, but the winds of discontent among his band and fans. Picture it, a rock legend grappling with the recent death of his close friend and bandmate Danny Whitten takes to the stage night after chaotic night, delivering performances that were as raw as they were unpredictable. Neil Young, known for his poignant lyrics and distinctive voice, transformed his stages into cathartic arenas where music collided with emotion. But this tour was different. Each concert seemed like a public therapy session, with Young often lashing out or breaking down. Critics and fans, expecting the polished performances of a rock icon, were left bewildered. "I felt like a product," Neil once confessed in an interview, reflecting on the overwhelming pressure and scrutiny he faced. Adding to the drama, tensions within the band boiled over, with frequent clashes and shouting matches that mirrored Neil's internal struggle. Imagine being in the crowd as Young, in a rare moment of raw vulnerability, stops mid-performance, struggling to hold back tears, then abruptly shifting to a fierce critique of the music industry's soulless machine. This turbulent period not only marked a pivotal point in Young's career, but also became a symbol of an artist's fight against the suffocating embrace of fame. "This is not just about the music," Young remarked during a particularly intense concert. "It's about surviving the storm within." Could the pain of a lost friend and the weight of fame really push a seasoned artist to the brink? Neil Young's Time Fades Away tour suggests it just might. Yet, as the echoes of his fraught performances faded, Neil was about to enter a whole new arena of conflict, this time in the courtrooms. Neil's creative clash. Picture this. It's the mid-1980s and Neil Young, the icon of folk and country rock, decides to throw everyone a curveball. He dives headfirst into electronic and rockabilly waters with his albums Trans and Everybody's Rockin'. Fans and critics are bewildered. What's with the sudden shift? But the real shocker comes when his own label, Geffen Records, sues him for these adventurous tunes, claiming they're unrepresentative of the Neil Young brand. Can you believe a record label suing an artist for being too creative? Geffen's beef: these albums were commercial flops, not fulfilling the mighty dollar expectations. Neil, never one to take things lying down, countersues, throwing a spotlight on the eternal tussle between artistic freedom and commercial viability. It's a legal soap opera starring our beloved music rebel fighting to keep his creative spirit uncaged. The case, settled out of court, leaves a lasting mark in the music world, sparking debates far and wide. Was Geffen right to demand hits, or was Neil justified in his artistic exploration? In interviews, Neil would quip about the absurdity of being told how to rock out, making it clear he was never one to dance to anyone else's tune. This showdown remains a legendary tale of an artist's struggle for creative control against the corporate machine. What do you think? Should artists stick to their hits or be free to explore? Despite resolving his legal battles, Neil's defiance against industry norms would soon manifest again, this time at one of rock's most hallowed ceremonies, Neil's Hall of Fame snub. Ever wondered why Neil Young never returned to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Well, Neil Young is a rebel with a cause. Back in 1997, when Neil was slated to be inducted as a solo artist into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, he decided to give the ceremony a hard pass. Why? Neil had a beef with how commercialized the event had become. Imagine that, a music legend standing up against the very industry celebrating him. The ticket prices were sky high, and the seating arrangements for his guests were less than stellar. It's not just about having a seat at the table, it's about having a good seat. Neil expressed his dissatisfaction loud and clear, challenging the industry norms by boycotting the ceremony. He famously remarked, "It's not about the music anymore, it's about the money and the fame, and that's not what my music is all about." This bold move sparked a wider discussion on the commercial aspects of cultural honors. Should accolades just be another revenue stream for big corporations? Neil didn't think so, and he wasn't afraid to make his point by not showing up. Although he stood up to the commercialization of cultural honors, Neil was far from done challenging the system, with his activism reaching new heights during his tours. Rock's political rebel. Neil Young isn't just a rock icon. He's a fearless mouthpiece for political activism. Take a trip back to 2006 during the Freedom of Speech tour with Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. Neil didn't just play tunes, he turned concerts into political rallies, voicing fierce criticisms against the Bush administration. Not your average rock show, right? As Neil strummed the chords to songs like Living with War, he didn't hold back. "We're here to confront, to provoke, to bear witness," Young declared, echoing the thoughts of many but certainly not all his fans. This bold stance turned some of his concerts into hotbeds of debate, with reactions varying wildly. Some attendees cheered, feeling their voices were amplified by Neil's guitar, while others, well, not so much. In fact, some fans walked out, miffed at getting politics mixed with their music. Neil's readiness to challenge authority and voice controversial opinions didn't just define him as an artist, it sparked a conversation among his fans. Should artists stay out of politics? They debated. But for Young, blurring the lines between music and activism was just another day at the office. This blend of chords and causes didn't always harmonize smoothly, showcasing the powerful role musicians can play beyond entertainment. So think about it. When you buy a ticket to Neil Young's concert, are you just there for the music, or are you signing up for something more? How does that sit with you? Having said that, Neil's commitment to innovation wasn't limited to his music as he ventured into transforming the very way we experience sound. Neil's Pono predicament. Picture this. Neil Young, the legendary rocker, embarks on a quest not just to change how we listen to music, but to revolutionize it. Enter Pono, the high-resolution music player that was supposed to make your regular MP3s sound like tin cans tied to a string. In 2014, Young launches a Kickstarter campaign that catches fire, raking in over a whopping $6 million. Music lovers and audiophiles alike are on the edge of their seats, wallets out, ready to experience sound in a whole new way. But here's the kicker. Despite the hype, the actual market demand for Pono was more like a soft guitar strum in a sea of streaming service rock concerts. Competing with giants like Apple and Spotify, Pono just couldn't cut through the noise. It wasn't just that the device was bulky or that the music files were massive, it was that most people seemed pretty content with the convenience of a streaming, even if it meant sacrificing a bit of sound quality. Now imagine Neil, with his signature tenacity, pushing this project he genuinely believed in, only to watch it struggle to find its groove. It's like that moment when you're at a concert waiting for your favorite song, but the band plays a new track nobody knows yet. Nevertheless, his activism stretched beyond the music scene as he took on corporate giants in the food industry. Neil versus the GMO Goliath. Imagine Neil Young, not just as a musical maestro, but as a fearless David taking on the Goliath of agribusiness, Monsanto. In 2015, Young dropped a bombshell with his album The Monsanto Years, a full-throttle attack wrapped in melodies aimed squarely at the corporation's sprawling GMO empire. But why did this rock legend turn his guitar into a weapon against genetically modified seeds and chemicals? Neil Young saw something he didn't like. Big companies playing fast and loose with Mother Nature, and he wasn't about to strum quietly in the corner. The album sparked a firestorm, slicing through the airwaves with lyrics that dared to challenge the status quo. "I want a cup of coffee, but I don't want a GMO. I like to start my day off without helping Monsanto," he sings. It's catchy, right? But also loaded with a serious message, stirring up a pot that some would rather keep lid on. So, did everyone cheer this eco-warrior on? Not exactly. His bold stance ruffled feathers across the board, from corporate bigwigs to some fans who just wanted tunes without the politics. But Neil stuck to his guns, or should we say, his harmonica. He dove headlong into debates about what's on our plates and who gets to decide. However, the controversies surrounding his music's use in political campaigns were about to bring a new kind of spotlight: Neil versus the Rally playlist. When rock legend Neil Young heard his hit "Rockin' in the Free World" echoing at Donald Trump's 2016 campaign rallies, he was less than thrilled. Trump's campaign had sparked a clash of titans, pitting the outspoken Canadian-American singer against the equally forthright presidential candidate. Neil, known for his commitment to environmental causes and social justice, found Trump's political stances at odds with his personal and musical ethos. This wasn't just about politics. It was a battle for the soul of his music. The situation heated up when Neil publicly denounced Trump's use of his song, stating it was unauthorized and misaligned with his values. Imagine Neil's dismay seeing his anthem of freedom being used as a soundtrack for a campaign he didn't support. The irony of the situation didn't escape fans either, who were quick to point out the mismatch on social media platforms, sparking debates and memes alike. In an interview, Neil expressed his frustration. Did he even listen to the lyrics? It's about compassion, something not reflected in his campaign. This statement highlighted the deeper discord between the musician's intentions for his song and its political appropriation. The tension escalated to the point where Neil even considered legal action, a move that underscored the seriousness with which he viewed the unauthorized use of his work. Still, Neil's political engagement didn't stop with campaign controversies. It extended into environmental activism, where he was ready to make waves yet again. Rocking the pipeline. When Neil Young rocked into the controversy surrounding the Standing Rock protest in 2016, he wasn't just strumming a guitar. He was stirring a pot that simmered with decades of political disputes and environmental concerns. Young, a Canadian-American singer-songwriter known for his profound lyrical activism, released the song "Indian Givers," voicing staunch support for the Standing Rock Sioux tribe. The tribe was entrenched in a fierce battle against the Dakota Access Pipeline, fearing potential water pollution and the desecration of sacred lands. The song's hard-hitting lyrics didn't mince words, accusing those in power of greed at the expense of environmental sanctity and indigenous rights. Neil Young, with his gravelly voice that has sung many a protest anthem, captured the collective angst and determination of the protesters. Behind big money, justice always fails. This line alone was a direct jab at the powers pushing the pipeline project forward, igniting a media frenzy and drawing both applause and criticism. His active involvement didn't stop at the studio. Young visited the protest sites, standing shoulder to shoulder with activists, lending not just his voice, but his presence to the cause. Critics, however, were quick to label him an outsider, a musician capitalizing on controversy, questioning his authenticity, and accusing him of overstepping cultural boundaries. Yet amid the heated debates, Young's commitment to the cause never wavered. In interviews, he often highlighted the broader message of his involvement. "It's about respecting our land and the generations to come," he once remarked, emphasizing that his fight was not just for the headlines, but for a deeper, enduring change. Though he faced criticism for his involvement in the Standing Rock protests, Neil was about to confront another modern challenge, this time in the digital realm of streaming music. Neil's Spotify standoff. In 2021, rock legend Neil Young delivered a shockwave through the music industry with a bold move, yanking his entire catalog off Spotify. Why? He took a stand against the platform's choice to host Joe Rogan's podcast, which he claimed was a conduit for COVID-19 vaccine misinformation. This wasn't just a mere tantrum, but a significant protest, sparking heated debates across the globe. Imagine the scene. Young, a longtime advocate for various causes, decides enough is enough. It's a face-off between artistic integrity and corporate decisions. Neil expressed his dismay in an open letter, not just as an artist, but as a concerned citizen, stating, "They can have Rogan or Young, not both." His actions stirred a pot that had already been simmering. Fans and foes alike took to social media, some applauding his courage to stand up for public health, while others slammed him for what they saw as an attempt to stifle free speech. The clash resonated with many, turning Spotify's comment sections and Twitter feeds into battlegrounds of opinions and beliefs. Neil Young, standing firm with his acoustic guitar in hand, inadvertently became a poster child for the debate on censorship and the power of artists beyond their music. After exploring the tumultuous and controversial aspects of Neil Young's career, let's pivot to the brighter shades of his life that continue to inspire millions. Neil Young isn't just a music icon. He's a thriving example of how to balance personal success with genuine, heartfelt commitments. Current interests. Neil Young, ever the innovator, remains actively engaged in a variety of environmental causes. His dedication extends beyond music as he passionately works on his model train hobby, which has been a source of joy and relaxation. This hobby isn't just for fun, it's a part of his lifelong advocacy for model train accessibility, particularly for children with disabilities. His engagement in these areas shows a softer side of Young, revealing his nurturing spirit and inventive mind. Relationships and family life. Neil's heart beats strongest when surrounded by family. Happily married to actress Daryl Hannah, their relationship blossoms amidst shared environmental campaigns, blending love with mutual respect for nature. His children, whom he often mentions with evident pride, continue to be a central part of his life, grounding his legendary status to a relatable, familial warmth that fans admire. Greatest achievements. Reflecting on Neil Young's greatest achievements, one must highlight his induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, both as a solo artist and as a member of Buffalo Springfield. His extensive discography, which continues to influence and inspire, underscores a career built on authenticity and innovation. Neil's advocacy has also achieved significant milestones, particularly his impact on farm aid and sustainable farming practices, showcasing his ability to harmonize his musical influence with real-world activism. Net worth. With a career spanning over 5 decades, Neil Young's net worth is a testament to his enduring relevance and influence in the music industry. His financial success, however, is continuously channeled back into his passion projects and philanthropic efforts, emphasizing that for Young, wealth is merely a tool for creating positive change and promoting environmental and social causes. Homes. One of Neil's most iconic homes has been his Hawaiian hideaway on the Big Island, which recently sold for a breezy $20 million, down from its original asking price of $24.5 million. This Wailea property, a picturesque 3-acre slice of heaven, featured not just a sprawling main house with a 1920s Hawaiian vibe, but also 2 adorable guest cottages. Wrapped in lush tropical greenery with a pool designed to mimic a natural pond and an ocean front that's a snorkeler's and surfer's dream, it was truly a gem on the Kohala coast. Cars. And if you have ever thought about what type of cars he drives, here are the vehicles you will find in his garage. A 1953 Buick Roadmaster Skylark convertible. A 1941 Chrysler Series 28 Windsor Highlander Coupe. A 1948 Buick Roadmaster, a 1959 Lincoln Continental, and a 1949 Cadillac. What did you find most surprising or insightful about this deep dive into the hidden layers of Neil Young? Share your thoughts by commenting below. If you enjoyed this video, we think you'll like this one that's on your screen now. Also, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks for watching.